It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Diller.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, we're giving you our review of Spider-Man No Way Home. And
surprise.
And that's
no
really
surprise.
that's really about the only news we got for you this week, folks. Everyone just kind of like buggered out. They're like, "Nah, we're not competing with this. Like, you win, Spider-Man. Go steal your box office numbers. We'll come back next year," kind of thing. So we got some other stuff, but
moved.
Yeah.
And got out of the way. I mean, the wife and I were just like doing like a little recap. We have so much that we have to watch that unfortunately when the holidays roll around, you feel compelled, and in not a bad way, to watch a lot of holiday themed movies and TV shows, right? And I love those things, but also like The Witcher just came out. The MacGruber series just landed on Peacock. We still never got around to watching season 2 of Lock and Key. So we're just like, okay, as soon as we're back from visiting family for the holidays, we're just going to buckle down and try to get through some of these things. So, I mean, we loved the first season of The Witcher, right? I mean, but it's like, it's competing, like you said, right now in the zeitgeist of the internet with Spider-Man No Way Home. So we'll see if that starts trending, if we see anything from Geralt on social media anytime soon.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, you're trying to get in. I don't think there's enough to be spoiled about The Witcher because the books have already been out, the games have already been out. But Spider-Man, you want to avoid spoilers for, right? Like, I know for a fact you didn't go into Twitter and block Witcher keywords, but the whole list was Spider-Man. Your Spider-Man filled up your whole keyword list. So, I'm excited to watch The Witcher 2. We're excited to watch it here. We've been putting on, like you said, a lot of Christmas stuff in the background for noise while I'm kind of doing stuff, cleaning the house, getting it ready, so on and so forth. So that's been a lot going on here. I was probably a quarter of the way through Elf before I jumped on the show here, just kind of having it play in the background. So so you actually went out to watch a Christmas show, if you will. It looks like
live and in person. It was on my wife's bucket list to see the Nutcracker Ballet, something she's wanted to see ever since she was a kid. So we got tickets to go see that, and that was a very interesting experience, not just because it was a very iconic pop culture thing, like the Nutcracker, right? Like, everybody knows about that. Nutcracker, the Four Realms, right? Everybody remember that movie franchise that really got off the ground, right?
Oh yeah, love it.
But for me, I had never been to a ballet before, right? You know, a ballet recital is like different, right? I'm talking like an actual legit ballet. So that was a unique experience for me. But I feel like since I've been kind of enjoying theater more than I have like in my past life, it's kind of cool seeing like some of the stagecraft. They did some neat things where they did some like separation on the stage with like some screens and some projectors. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm so oblivious to ballet dancing. Like, I don't know what is good ballet dancing and what is bad ballet dancing, because it's all dancing that I couldn't do to begin with, right? So I was kind of really relying on the crowd with their applause to kind of tell me what's really good and what isn't, because you'll have one dancer that jumps like 8 feet in the air, like huge quads on them that can like spring like a superhero. And then somebody else like does something that I think is really cool and like nobody claps. I'm like, okay, I don't know what is hard and what isn't in this dance, but it was pretty fun. I'm glad that we got to check it off my wife's bucket list, but it was fun, right? Because we just talked about, movies and TV shows for the holidays. Yep. I've never really gone to anything like live. So I feel like the Nutcracker is something that like you can find like a production of it in kind of like any kind of larger metro area. So yeah, if you want to take your kids or your family to something and see some pretty impressive dancing, go check out the Nutcracker Ballet.
There it is.
It kind of weirdly, now that I have the context of what the ballet is, like I saw that the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, I forgot it was a Disney movie. It's on Disney Plus, so now I'm like, I kind of want to watch this movie. I'm sure it's bad, but like at least I kind of have some context now, and I can kind of follow it up into a movie franchise. You know how I filter everything in my life, right, is through a streaming service. So
Yeah. I've not witnessed the Nutcracker and personally myself, but I believe I'm trying to think. It was a stage play, The Grinch, I believe, once upon a time. So I know Christmas and they're very Christmas movies in general are very musical, right? Like, there's something sing-songy about Christmas time. So definitely for that. Now, on the other hand, I went and did the classic. Watched both of the Charlie Brown Christmas specials, and this has got a Mandela effect on a lot of people. I found they don't know there's two. One is Charlie Brown's Christmas, which is the one with the Christmas tree. Charlie Brown is directing a play, right? And they have to go by the Christmas tree, and he gets the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It's all a sad story because it's a pitiful tree, but they all decorate it anyway. So everyone knows that one. But in the 80s, they made one called It's Christmastime Again, Charlie Brown. And in this one, it has where Charlie Brown is trying to buy gloves for his... no, I don't think it's his girlfriend. It's a girl he's got a crush on, the little redheaded girl. And Snoopy is trying to sell wreaths door to door. And his sister is in a play this time, and she has to say the word hark. The Herald Angels sing, and she thinks she's just saying the word hark, and someone named Herald Angel sings. And then she gets to the play, and she ends up just saying hockey stick instead of hark, and ruins the whole thing for her. So it's very fun. I love both of these. The when you watch them side by side, the original one definitely has that weird, not weird. It's just the audio level of that era for the characters. The newer one's got like cleaner audio.
It's like built-in charm.
Yeah, but they're both very, very great. Charlie Brown's always a very classic Christmas thing for that. So that was the short things we watched this week. I've got more coming up this week. Like I said, I got time off. I'm going to be playing them in the background, all I can get. Christmas Vacation is by far my favorite Christmas movie. I know we talk about this every time. That is by far my go-to Christmas movie. For Mike's pleasure, I went ahead as put on 200 Christmas movies for you on the Chrisflix.
Yeah, I saw that in your little Plex server. We got a flood of content. Luckily, it seems like with the streaming war at a fever temperature, they are competing over Christmas movies. I feel like really for the first time. So I feel like almost every big Christmas movie that we watch, like the heavy hitters that we watch every year, we made sure that we bought them digitally over the last 2 years so we could always watch them whether they're streaming or not. We haven't really needed to do that at all this year because a streaming service has picked them up to get a subscriber in the month of December. So I'm not saying your efforts are in vain because they're not. Because we watched the animated 1969, Grinch? I believe, Frosty the Snowman, something I haven't seen in a million years, and that was not streaming. So thanks again. The internet.
The internet's a lovely place to find some relics of days gone by. So. And Muppet Christmas Carol is very close and dear to me as well, but everybody knows that you like the lamp and not the rat. The other thing I was doing, I finally got my chance to. I've been saving this. My coworker had wanted to see The French Dispatch. We did not get to see it when it came out, so we waited together to watch it. He came over today. We watched The French Dispatch. Mike, you've seen this, the Wes Anderson movie, and while I think it's a great movie, I feel like it has no point, and I hate to say that because I love Wes Anderson movies, but there are 3 separate stories in this movie, and they don't really have any conclusion amongst each other. And I'm like, this is a very interesting way to feel after watching this movie that I've waited forever to come see.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Wes Anderson, it's a must-watch, right? You get all of his charm in the film, so you're having all of those great magical moments, but I left the movie going this should have been a limited series, right? Imagine you add 2 more chapters onto it, runs for 5 weeks on HBO Max. I don't know what streaming service it would be, but HBO kind of seems like the place maybe for some Wes Anderson.
It's kind of it's R-rated at some points, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just get your fix of Wes Anderson for 5 or 6 weeks. I feel like that really would have worked well for that particular story he wanted to tell.
Yeah, I like it. It's got very much 3 segments and an opening part, and is very Wes Anderson and how everything feels. But whereas I think the Grand Budapest Hotel and some of the stuff before that were very much heart-spoken, very very emotional, very charging for the characters. You're going to gravitate towards one of these 3 stories in here, but there's really nothing else kind of going on. By the time they build to anything, it's over. And I feel like that was kind of disappointing to me because I really I'm not in the movie just for charm and filmmaking skills. I really want to tell a story. And so it's very, very interesting about this, that I feel this way. And I feel I'm going to have to talk to my coworker. He just left. He's like, we'll talk about this tomorrow because, he's like, I want to think on it. So, well, I love it. And it's got a lot of famous people in this, just not really in love with it, sadly. So I think it's great. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't always knock him out of the park, but it's usually at least an entertaining game to watch.
The style is there, and the actors, the acting is great. I think the story is what hurts, is not the acting in the filmmaking. So check that out. And then literally right after that was done, I went and ran through the last chapter of Halo Infinite, Mike, the campaign, and I don't know if you've ever played any of the Destiny games, which were made by Bungie, the previous Heralds of...
No, not really.
So I feel this campaign ended, you've done what you need to do. It's set in a great direction, pointed for the future of this, but I would not be surprised if every 3 months to 6 months, there's like a big new, like, here's a new story expansion pass releasing for, maybe dollars or for free, and, you can buy some, not V-Bucks, that's Fortnite, whatever the money system is in here to get some extra stuff. But like, I would not be surprised if this is like Halo Infinite. It's like the next 4 years of Halo, and they're just going to keep building on to it. It's the way it left. And that's good to know. I like games that like, tell a story and are single, and Halo multiplayer is great. The fact they're putting some, if they go that route and they put that behind it, it's going to feel awesome. One of the complaints we've talked about, this one of the few games we played together, story-focused games, is Spider-Man, right? They had some DLC, but like they didn't touch that game for like 2 years, kind of thing. Like it's been dead for almost 3 since the DLC kind of launched right after it came out. I'm like, this would be so much cooler if they just added more like small missions to this. I would probably come back and play more frequently. But once you kind of beat that game, you're kind of just done with it for the time being. So I'm glad there are some games. I'm glad for some games as a service, whereas others are not very, very, very interesting for everybody to be involved in. But did you got to play the campaign yet on your...
No, okay. No. I actually just had a notification go off on my phone when we were filming the Spider-Man spoiler cast that I need to cancel my Xbox Cloud subscription my first month. So I do need to try that Ethernet connection, see if I have a little bit less lag. But
cool.
Yep, unfortunately, probably Halo won't be in my life in any significant way unless something changes. But
I'm
glad you had a good time, Chris.
Unless you get a free Xbox, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Yeah, I've been playing multiplayer. Multiplayer is great. They added some stuff like that. But Halo is going to be my video game of choice for the foreseeable several months. Let's jump into the news. The first and foremost thing is the biggest news of the week by far is Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters, now available for you to watch. Go to the movie theaters and watch this movie. We did a whole spoiler-filled review. Intro's spoiler free, but there's a lot that I don't want to ruin this movie for anybody, so we can't talk a lot about it. So our initial reactions are there at the top of this. Mike, you just got out of this an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago. Like we literally recorded it fresh off of you getting home from the movie. So I'll let you start this time, letting people know how you felt about Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't give any spoilers away.
Yeah, I mean, no spoilers. I'm still trying to find the best way to describe the film. But at the end of our spoiler cast review, I feel like I started to land on something whereas Spider-Man No Way Home is like this just delicious dessert at the end of like an amazing meal, right? And no fault to the dessert. I had a great time. It's delicious, but I think I still maybe enjoyed some of the previous Spider-Man movies a little bit more. But I mean, like, come on, this is amazing. This film was great, a great, fun time. Tons of payoff, tons of fan service, easy to recommend. It's great. So go give it a watch. Easy recommendation on my end. I'm really looking forward to see where, like, just the franchise in general goes now after this film. I'm very excited for the future of Spider-Man in general. So there you go, my spoiler-free review of Spider-Man No Way Home. Chris, what about you? How you feeling?
Well, honestly, this is like my Justice League for... No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. It's not bad. This is literally my favorite Spider-Man movie ever. I am much stronger on this than Mike is by a long shot. I give it a 10 out of 10. I don't come in very often giving movies awesome scores like that. I'm very reserved. I hold that for very few. But if I was to put this movie anywhere, it would be on a top shelf of things I enjoy watching. The John Watts has come and delivered a great trilogy overall, and really given us a lot of special moments, I think, that will be talked about in this movie for a very, very long time. It's got a lot of emotion. It's got laughs. It is connected to the MCU at large, but also is very, intimate in what it's doing and the problems it's presenting for Spider-Man. So I just absolutely am in love with this film right now, and I can't wait to go back and watch it again, and not just be about it. I will tell you, and you said this the other one, there were no less than a dozen claps and applauses from my audience watching this movie. So again, mine was the very first showing available at 3 p.m. So those are very hardcore diehard fans, but I don't think that changes anything at all. I think it's great. And I recommend people be safe, but run out and watch this as soon as you can, because I think if you don't, people will ruin it for you, on purpose or an accident. I don't know, but you got to see Spider-Man. I think even though Mike's not as strong as I think we both agree, you got to go see this. You got to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like one of the more popular ways to kind of organize and classify MCU movies is like in tiers. This is easily like top tier Marvel, right? I mean, I don't know how you execute everything in this movie so well and don't be considered kind of one of the greats. So yeah, go give this movie a watch. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, exactly. I think people cheer. The other thing is, we'll talk about the box office, and Mike brought this up at the beginning of the show. What is a good box office these days? What does that even mean? I will tell you right now, Spider-Man No Way Home is domestically, it looks like it's going to be bringing home, I put 121. It looks like it's $253 million domestically, Mike. It has doubled what I put in here originally. Which makes it the third highest opening domestically of all time ever, not just this year.
I'm looking at a tweet from 6 hours ago that said it was 587 million worldwide. Yep. So what a gigantic return. I mean, this is something that we were saying during the throes early in the pandemic of we're not going to kind of see the return of the box office until we kind of see records starting to get broke or approach, and this is it right here. Hopefully our society, the human race, is now equipped with the tools that we need to battle this virus. Some people need to come to their senses, I feel, a little bit more than others, but it seems like if you do everything right, you can go back to the movies really safely. Hopefully no variant we don't see any really bad variant news after all of this, but the numbers are there. People really wanted to see Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. This will be the 6th MCU movie in the top 10 opening weekends of all time. And it's only behind Endgame and Infinity War, which, again, as we talk about top tier Marvel movies, right, back to back, and this just nails it up there. It's right behind episode 7 and 8 of Star Wars as well. So, or right in front of those two. So, it's just killing it. It's out there killing it in there. Hopefully everyone's being safe watching it. I want to go watch it again. This movie will have legs. This is my family. My dad in particular loves to watch movies on Christmas Day. Like, that is his tradition. And he's already booking his for this weekend where he's going to see. He wants to see The King's Man. I totally understand. I'm like, there probably will not be a lot of people in there. It's an R-rated film on Christmas Day. But if you get a chance, Spider-Man's right there along the way. And it's very really funny because the original Spider-Man 1 is coming out up on its 20th anniversary next year. I don't know if you knew that or not. We actually, my dad took us to see that in Hawaii. So like, that's like one of the few memories of Hawaii I have, is watching Spider-Man at a movie theater there. So, so I'm like, now I'm pushing him to go see Spider-Man. I'm like, go anywhere you want. Don't just go to the little dinky movie theater down the road. Go to the big ones. Like, it's Christmas. Splurge a little. Hit up Waffle House on your way out. I don't care what you do. So, down the road. So No Way Home. This is not really anything, news related. I believe we will be seeing more Spider-Man in the MCU going forward. Amy Pascal has kind of been out there saying that they're working on another trilogy. I don't know if that's true or not, Mike, but like, if we were to see Spider-Man come back, is this something, what do we want to see going forward? And that was something I didn't know if we want to talk about here or not, because they've talked about it, but I'm like, I don't know where it's going to go.
I mean, I'm curious if we're going to see Tom Holland at all cross over into Disney Plus in any way. It seems like a Young Avengers is afoot in some way at some point in time. I mean, I think it makes sense for maybe Spider-Man to be involved in some way, especially since he's one of the more iconic kind of younger characters in the MCU. And it kind of seems like now that he's kind of 3 movies in, I could kind of see him maybe taking a little bit of a leadership role, right? If he's got some younger people underneath his belt. But I don't know what that contract looks like with Sony, right? It seems like it's obvious that Sony, if they want to keep printing money like this, I mean, holy cow, look at this box office, keep Marvel Studios involved. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, no spoilers, but after watching the movie we just watched, anything is possible, right? Yeah. So I think I would like to see some sort of Young Avengers thing in the works. I want to see him with a team again.
Yeah, I think it's no spoiler to show that Doctor Strange is involved. When Doctor Strange is involved, usually the world is at risk, right? For some movies, I would love a smaller Spider-Man sequel, like literally, like where we can like get him and some other smaller street level, maybe Black Cat. We talked about, stuff like that. Is there potentiality for a Miles Morales to pop up in here? Down the road.
It's got to happen. Yeah, it's an eventuality. It's an inevitability. It's just how are they going to do it? Right?
Is that the next trilogy? Kind of thing. Building towards a Miles rather than just throwing them in there. And
I would think in my head like, kind of like slow roll it, maybe bring them up at the end of the next trilogy. But like that, I think that's a little too slow for Hollywood. I almost think once we get an announcement of the next Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland in it, there is going to be like a casting announcement for Miles ready to go.
Yeah, and I think they could do it like they did with literally the Spider-Man video game, where he's a side character. Like, he doesn't get his powers in that game until later, and you don't even play as him till his own game. So like, it could be something where they introduce him slowly over time and do that kind of thing. So there's an opportunity there for that. And honestly, the more I'm thinking about it here, we've got a lot of after Endgame. Who's left in New York with Spider-Man? Hawkeye's there temporarily. Everyone else are they in New York? Where's everybody at? Is he actually going to have interactions with other heroes still at this rate? So I don't even know who's left in New York if I'm sitting here thinking about it out loud.
I mean, Fantastic Four has been announced. Yeah. They're kind of New York based, but who knows? That's going to be like a full fresh reboot. They could be on the West Coast if it really demanded. So I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah. But everything is looking up for the franchise, which it's great. It's great to have that feeling, right?
This is the first Marvel movie that's kind of revitalized me this year. I think Black Widow's good. Shang-Chi is great. Internals is good, but like nothing was really like blew me out of the water until this week.
Well, yeah. Because I mean, like we're used to Marvel superhero movies like being big and impactful and like like as much as corporate as it sounds, synergizing with like multiple characters and franchises. And even though we love those other movies, it's great to kind of return to kind of what we've been working on, right? All the work that we've put in, that we've put in, Chris, sitting down on our butts watching TV. So,
as keyboard warriors, we put in the hours.
Yeah, and it's great to get back. Like the next movie coming up is Doctor Strange, so we'll be returning to that again. I've already forgotten what's after Doctor Strange. I don't even remember anymore.
Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's just like we got hits, we got back and forth. We're getting back into it. So even though origin movies are important, right? It's great to just jump back into the fun.
Yeah. Speaking of Thor: Love and Thunder, Mike, last week's poster that Taika Waititi said was false is confirmed to be 100% real by the distributor of this poster.
We knew it. You can't fool our eagle eyes. We saw through the veil.
We saw that artwork. The distributor actually came out and was like, yes, this was approved by corporate. it has been sent to stores. This person just put it out early. So while it's maybe not anything Waititi has signed off on himself and maybe hasn't seen, like I said, maybe he just didn't know. It doesn't mean it's not real. It's just not finalized photos, right? So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I don't know what else to put. I want to see some footage for this, but
luckily,
go ahead.
Luckily, the poster didn't have really too many spoilers, right? Nothing really story related. Nothing that we didn't already know. Just we're gonna get some goats. That sounds like fun.
That does sound like goats. As my parents are owners of like 60 plus goats, yeah, it's pretty exciting here for me, possibly. Pretty sure. I'm looking up here, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder. So yeah, I think we're gonna get a Thor: Love and Thunder trailer with Super Bowl. What do you think? 2022.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's weird to have a Super Bowl, right? Without a big kind of like Marvel Disney presence.
And Doctor Strange is still 3 months. I think we'll get a Doctor Strange. I think we'll get a Thor: Love and Thunder teaser. However, I do not think we'll get Black Panther because it's November of next year until much, much later in the year. So.
Yeah, there's still a lot of drama with Letitia Wright at the current moment. So who knows what's happening with that film right now?
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll come out as it is. I think I just realized Disney Plus shows have an opportunity to have Super Bowl trailers this year too, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at our upcoming release page on our website, plug superheroslate.com. Click on upcoming releases up there in the navigation bar. There is a ton of stuff unknown slated for 2022, and it's all Disney Plus. So
could we get like an Obi-Wan trailer at Super Bowl? Like
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It's not Marvel related, but I think that'd be something they could do. So
yeah, I mean, it's the next media blitz, right? We always talk about this at the end of the year. Things are winding down. Hollywood in general shuts down for weeks. I don't think it really ever recovers until Martin Luther King Day, which is, I think, halfway through January, if I remember correctly. So yeah, the next really big media push is going to be Super Bowl, which that's end of February usually, right?
No, first weekend in February, Super Bowl. First weekend in February.
No.
So we're 6 weeks away. So
that'll be it. So stay tuned for some pushes there.
Yeah, and that also lines up with our next part. Book of Boba Fett will be wrapping up about the time Super Bowl starts. So I think it would make sense that they would put the next Star Wars trailer at the Super Bowl right after Book of Boba Fett ends. Which would be... Yeah,
it really seems like Disney Plus has finally situated itself in a way where if you have your subscription on any given week, you can watch an episode of something premium that they have in their roster, right? If it's not Star Wars, it's Marvel. If it's not Marvel, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. After those two, maybe some sort of Disney original, like a Pixar thing or something.
Yeah, they have those. The Doug Days, I think, right? The Pixar stuff. And the thing with Book of Boba Fett will probably lead into, I'm gonna guess, Moon Knight. But that means the end credits of Book of Boba Fett usually teases the next thing, right? Like the end credits will always lead into the next thing. And Boba Fett that we know so far is on Tatooine, where Obi-Wan was last seen when we saw him in the episode 3. Now, this brings me to the Book of Boba Fett trailers and footage. Apparently, all the trailers and stuff we've seen so far are literally from the first half of episode 1, because you get into spoiler territories literally after that, and they're like, "Now we're just going to show you the first half of the stuff."
Yeah,
that's
also that makes a lot of sense too. That's almost kind of, I feel like, traditional with television, right? Go back and watch a trailer for any TV show out there ever. It's almost always focusing on the first episode. And that also depends on production too. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, we're still working on the other episodes" when the first one airs. So I'm looking forward to Boba Fett, but I'm going to be traveling. So I made the realization just the other day. I was like, "Oh no, we have to watch the Hawkeye season finale in my mother-in-law's guest bedroom on like an iPad." I mean, I gotta watch it. I'm not gonna wait. So that's just how it's got to be. So Boba Fett is. I think I'll be able to watch it when we get back into town. So that's
I don't think there's a lot about Boba Fett that like episode 1's gonna blow you away. It's probably later in the season.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm not too worried about spoilers. I'm not saying this is like a filler TV show, but it does kind of feel like a little bit of like filler till we get our next Star Wars thing.
I would even say this is like pure fan service at this point. Like The Mandalorian was trying to tell a new story. Boba Fett is literally like everyone's favorite character who only had he had what 2 lines in the original trilogy to begin with.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know what, we got the actor who played the clone of Boba or Jango Fett. Let's roll with this. It feels like just fan service at this point, but that is coming out Wednesday, December 29th, on Disney Plus. They're keeping to that Wednesday schedule. They just love it, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Move along. This week we also got our first trailer for Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, Mike brought up a really good point before we started the show. What the hell happened in this trailer? We don't remember. And that's nothing to say against it. We're just not the stands of this.
Yeah, I had to go back and click through the trailer, and you reminded me, there's some Hogwarts stuff in here. We see Ezra Miller looking a little bit like Snape. Is that just like a fashion trend of if you want to be a moody wizard, grow your hair out long and black and put some black robes on? I'm really curious where this is going to go. I mean, J.K. Rowling has been in the has been in some bad news cycles for sure, and I won't comment on whether or not she deserves it. But I mean, either way, if you just look at it from purely a mile high, it's not the best look for the franchise.
Well,
right?
At this point, I don't think it matters. I think everyone's kind of gone far enough back from her that they just don't care.
You know what? I don't know why I'm trying to be apolitical from it. No, J.K. Rowling, you're freaking crazy, and you're ruining your franchise that you built. And also, she's not a good screenwriter. Yeah. She wrote the last 2 Fantastic Beasts, and she can't write a script worth a shit. So, and looks like she wrote the script for this one as well. So I'm not looking forward to it, which is unfortunate.
Did she? I'm trying to look it up real fast to see.
Yeah, she's got screenwriting credit. Now, who knows what's happened behind the scenes, because all movies go through, all big franchise movies go through multiple different writers for touch-ups and stuff like that. But I believe she's credited as top level as the script writer, and I don't think she does a very good job. I think if you just have to purely talk about her as a writer, I think she can accomplish what she wants to accomplish in hundreds of pages. I don't think she has the finesse to keep it to a feature-length script. And also, she has really just bad personal appeal right now. So I'm not looking forward to this at all.
You're playing nice. She's a piece of shit. At the end of the day, it is a screenplay by J.K. Rowling and Steve Kloves. I'm going to guess Kloves is probably the person who was probably put on this from Warner Brothers after a bit here. Kloves has worked on literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Harry Potter movies as writer, and then he was not on the last 2 Fantastic Beasts, but he's back on this one. So I think he's the main writer back on this again. So that's good, because I don't mind the first Harry Potter, the 8 movies or whatever it is. For that,
it's just all so weird. Why would you pick this character, Eddie Redmayne, to kind of be our to this wizard Hitler? It's just the whole conceit of everything just seems so strange for me from movie 1, that it's just at this point in time, you just got to be a franchise completionist, especially if you have a significant other that is all in on this IP, and I don't blame her for that. I'm sure that she would like some of her life back from some of the IP that I'm attached to, but whether I like it or not, I will be seeing this movie.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing is literally I've heard nothing. I mean, I saw the J.K. Rowling stuff online, but that's the where I get our news from. Literally everyone else has been Johnny Depp was replaced. If you don't forget, Johnny Depp was fired from this movie, whether it's true or not, and replaced with Mads Mikkelsen, who again I think is a great actor. I think to be Grindelwald in this. So the last one was The Crimes of Grindelwald. This one's The Secrets of Dumbledore. So I think we're going to see a lot more Jude Law in this. He seems to be assembling a ragtag group of wizards to do some undercover stuff that the wizardry ministry is not going to look at. But I think it's very interesting. An idea here is, if they're going to keep going forward with this, don't keep Mads Mikkelsen. Maybe recast Grindelwald every movie, and then just don't explain that. He just looks different every movie. That's what he does. And that would be the best way to ignore any, hit or miss, stuff with Johnny Depp, because that's the first thing my wife says. Is that the new person who's did Johnny Depp? And I'm she's oh, I really liked him in the last one. I'm that's fine. But Mads Mikkelsen, he's great. done Rogue One. He's done Doctor Strange. Yeah. This guy's a fantastic
It's funny though
actor.
because he's not exactly like the poster appeal, right? You don't put his name on the poster to get people into the theater. So I do think that's kind of funny that some people who are, just kind of big Harry Potter fans, and they'll be like, who is this person? I remember Johnny Depp because Pirates of the Caribbean was fun, but who the hell's Mads Mikkelsen?
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun treat for them. But yeah, like you said, he's a great actor. To me, it feels like the Harry Potter franchise is going to go full Star Wars, right? Yeah. Like they're just going to have to like burn this era of the wizarding world and just move on to like a different chapter, go either further back or go forward into the future. I wouldn't be surprised if present day might be involved, but at the end of the day, like J.K. Rowling is in charge of all of it, so it's one of those things where like unless she sells it like George Lucas did, we might not be seeing some of the same pivots that we've seen in Star Wars.
Well, I think I'm gonna double check this here. I believe Warner Brothers outright owns it, but she still has a say. Which may cause if there is a at the end of the day what it sounds like. If they could fire, I don't know if they could do, but I think J.K. Rowling owns publishing and theatrical rights, and Warner Brothers owns the film rights. So it seems like it's a one weekend with one weekend with the other. But they've got 2 more movies after this one, the 5 total. But the video game is next on thing, and that video game goes back several hundred years, which would be a great place for them to take place in that, right? Like Star Wars did. They were like, we're going back a couple hundred years. We can do any medieval thing we really want with magic back then. So
and the video game has already stated that J.K. Rowling is not involved in any way. So I don't know if just like she doesn't care, but I feel like she's always been in charge of creating new narrative, no matter what's involved. She writes blog posts about expanding her lore. So it's hard for me to believe that like a video game company just gets to make a whole new video game from an era that hasn't been talked about yet, and she's not involved. But hopefully they're being truthful, and we don't have to worry too much about her.
She may have given them like, hey, here's what happened in this like year period that you're saying, but like she's not doing the dialogue or the day-to-day stuff on the video games, my guess. Like she may have been like, all right, in that year, here's some big bullet points that you have to reference. Other than that, have at it, because she doesn't care, or they didn't really want her involved beyond that at Warner Brothers. But the Secrets of Dumbledore, Fantastic Beasts and Secrets of Dumbledore trailers out. There actually seems to be Fantastic Beasts in this trailer, so I will give them credit for actually putting some little creatures in this trailer for once, unlike the last one, which had none. They weren't even in the case. The Matrix Resurrections out this week in theaters and HBO Max. This is our last HBO Max release. That is day and date of this year, if not ever. So that is the 22nd. So that is what, Wednesday? Wednesday as well. Because it's Christmas week, they will put them out early. So I will probably, unless I really love the HBO Max version, I'm probably not going to theaters for this. As much as I'm a Matrix head, I will not be able to go to that. And I was gonna try to do that Unreal Experience this before we got on the show, Mike, but there's just no time this week. So I'll try to get it done before Wednesday.
I mentioned this before on the podcast, but the Corridor YouTube channel where they do special effects, VFX artists react, they did one this week with Adam Savage, who worked on the 2 Matrix sequels, and he talks about his time like making some of the models and working with the Jakowskis and like blowing up physical sets and stuff. So go give that a watch if you want, just kind of like a little trip down the nostalgia rabbit hole with the Matrix sequels.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'll never forget in that second one when they had the very, very underutilized twins who were ghosts, and they built like a stretch of highway literally to film this scene, like the highway scene in Australia, to make sure all the cars were real and flipped over and it was as real as possible. So despite the Matrix literally being a digital construct, they did go very practical in their effects for a lot of that. So I always applaud them for that. I might try to, if I have the time between that. Is Matrix a Christmas movie? Will this count on my bingo? No. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. No.
I'm sure in some simulation of the Matrix there's snow.
Yeah. I'm sure Santa probably a program in the Matrix. But I might try to watch those before I hit it up on Wednesday on HBO Max. So check it out there. The Blue Beetle movie we've briefly covered here, that was supposed to be created by HBO Max, has now actually been upgraded to a theatrical release, Mike. So it's not an HBO Max movie. It is a actual theater movie. So my question for you is, do you think this is now in the DC EU, or is it still same HBO Max canon, they just want more money from it?
The idea of an HBO Max movie was always very odd to me, right? Because this is a streaming service that's kind of built off of like a movie studio, right? You know, off of Warner Brothers. So it was always strange to me that they would make a movie and not release it. You know, I get it from Netflix's point of view, right? But it just seems like you're leaving money on the table in a way, especially with a superhero movie like this. So yeah, I don't know if they just were doing some early strategic maneuvers of just like, okay, well, we announced this movie kind of around a pandemic. Let's just say it's coming to HBO Max, get people to subscribe because, there's more movies coming your way. But yeah, not too surprised to see it going theatrical. It makes sense, right?
That's like a good decision. Like, you know, I hate it when I see movies like, we're gonna just sell it to digital and not non-pandemic related. Like, we just don't feel confident in it. So hopefully they get more budget for it because, you know, they're going a little larger. Hopefully, you know, it'll have a little more emphasis on it. But that's good. I think Blue Beetle's a great character that a lot of people are not open to or know much about, and will hopefully gravitate towards and watch this.
Yeah. Also, Netflix is kind of at a different business stage of their platform where, you know, they can make pretty much anything and chalk it up there. They just want a title to go viral. But HBO Max is kind of still in the phase of we need to keep pumping out new stuff every week to retain and grow our subscribership. So it would make more sense that if you want something completely original to HBO Max with Blue Beetle, like make it a series, right? Make it something that'll make somebody subscribe for at least 2 months to watch it. Yeah, just doing a one and done movie style kind of seems like a waste of your opportunity. So looks like we'll be seeing it in theaters. I have my same questions that I have for everything DC related, right? Like, what's it connected to? What world is it in? Why should we care beyond the fact, you know, that it's just adapting a character? Yeah,
and does the theatrical thing kind of bump it up into the importance of the DC connected universe? Now the other question is, you know, they're working on is it Batgirl, I believe, as well there. So do you think they'll also elevate that status to theatrical as well?
I don't even remember, was Zatanna supposed to be a series or was that a movie? I don't even know anymore.
That's a great question. I'm going to pull it up here on this. I just know the Batgirl's a little farther along because we saw that artwork. Let's see. Live action, it says under film. Zatanna movie is in development at Warner Brothers. So it looks like it is a movie, not HBO Max related, just a movie.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how all this works out. As usual, question marks circle around my head.
Make some official announcements. God damn, just put out some good stuff for us. Like, just let us know what's going on. But Blue Beetle down that road. Gotham Knights, the video game that we know very little about, but it has to do with the Corvallis and the other characters, is coming out. And now they're working on a series based on this at the CW from the Batwoman writers. So, I guess.
I'm really curious what the future for the CW looks like, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the next time I see the CW, it'll be like the Flash is, you know, ending, because that has gone on the longest now, right? Other than any other show.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can tell, something CW usually doesn't make it onto the Superhero Slate podcast unless, you know, it kind of reaches a threshold. So a new series, Gotham Knights would be cool fodder for a series, but, you know, couldn't you admit you'd be a little bit more excited if they were saying it was for HBO Max, not for the CW?
Yeah.
But like the CW obviously makes money, right? You know, it's something that anybody can pick up over an antenna and they sell ads against it. The very old school model, right? So I guess they need to making new shows when the old ones end. You know, Supergirl just ended recently, so gotta throw some new stuff up there.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with that is, you know, the CW does license their stuff for streaming, so they can make money when it does go to streaming. Because they used to go to Netflix, right? The day the season was over, kind of thing. Now they'll probably go to HBO Max. They'll still license them, but I think the interesting thing here is, if it's based on the video game or is it inspired by the video game, will it actually connect to the CW shows at large? Or is this going to be a standalone kind of series? That's my question, because if it's based on the game and it's just telling more of the game story, that's fine. But, like, it's probably not going to be very good on CW. But if they're like, hey, we're going to go in this world where Bruce Wayne is dead and we have, like, 4 young heroes, I'm like, that just sounds like Titans again. So what's the pitch here is my question for this show, and how are they going to make it stand out and get people coming back pretty frequently?
The pitch is more money for Greg Berlanti. That is the pitch.
That's right. Yeah, it's the more shows he has, the happier he is for that. So yeah, I don't know. That's about it. And we are out of big bullet points for news this week, folks. We again, it was mostly Spider-Man, so we had that review. Go watch it. Take some time off for the holidays. But now we're going to jump into Hawkeye, episode 5 discussion here to wrap up the end of the episode. Now, if you've not seen this, there are spoilers. If you have seen this, and I'm just going to go ahead and say, haven't watched Spider-Man, go watch that before you come back and listen to this, because I don't think it's connected, but they're both in New York at the same time, as we kind of mentioned. So I wouldn't go any further if you want to be ruined by anything. Just pump your brakes, go watch Hawkeye, go watch Spider-Man, and we'll and then come back and enjoy this bit of the episode. So episode 5 for me, I only really remember like 2 parts of this episode, like 2 sections. Like, it feels very short to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, there is a standout moment in this episode that I think is the best of the series so far, and that's to see Florence Pugh return and sit down in Kate Bishop's apartment and eat macaroni and cheese. It was just great. I forgot how charming and hilarious she was in Black Widow, from earlier in the summer, and to see her return, it was just great. It was like so much fun just to see her, like, and you can kind of see her shades of gray, right? Even though she's been hired to kill Hawkeye, she has a grudge against Hawkeye. She's not a maniac. She's not just gonna kill people in her way. She still kind of has that good in her.
And I wouldn't even know if it's say good, but like, she also has a personality. Nothing against Scarlett Johansson and Natasha Romanoff, but she was always business. Yelena's in there eating macaroni with hot sauce, boxed macaroni with hot sauce, having a conversation, right? So, she's very funny. She's like down to earth. She's like, she is really good at her job, but she can also be humorous while doing so. I will say, not only that, I think the standout thing from is the opening sequence where it talks about the snap 5 years earlier, and it literally shows her go into the. I totally forgot about that, Chris. So her and another Black Widow are going around freeing another one. So she finds this one and she sprays it with the red, and the lady's like, I'm not brainwashed. And now you have red all over my carpet. So she's essentially just a mercenary Black Widow making money and buying rich things. And then she goes to the bathroom, and literally Florence Yelena gets snapped. You see her go to dust. Just everything turns to dust. And then literally instantly you see the walls kind of redust over, paint that changes, everything changes in the bathroom as she comes back. Like, that's how a snap person would react to this, right? Or feel the snap.
I love that. What a great visual representation, right? We got that a little bit in WandaVision with Monica Rambeau, but this was an interesting way to show it off, right? It was very intense.
Monica was just one way, not both ways, right? Or they didn't really show anything around her change. She walked out into the same hospital, whereas this one was like, if that house got changed and the decor changed and paint, this is what it would look like. And I applaud them for going down. It's not Hawkeye related, sadly.
And it almost seems like there's a totally different, maybe even crew involved with the opening. It almost seemed like, was this like a post-credit scene on a movie that they just shifted over to Hawkeye? Like, it really felt like we were in a different, totally different world. But it was great. Yeah, what a great way to start off.
Yeah, and then then we actually get into Hawkeye's thing, which is great. And something I was going to say earlier, with we were talking about, they usually show footage from the first episode. Well, the Hawkeye trailer hasn't showed us anything about him getting shot at in a restaurant or that big Rockefeller tree yet, which I think is saving for next episode, I guess. We'll see how that goes. And that Rockefeller tree was literally in Spider-Man, and I'm like, is this all going to be related somehow, kind of thing? I was very interested.
We're just gonna see a little Spider-Man just in the background, not consequential to the plot at all.
He's not helping Hawkeye. He's just like, out of hell with these guys. But they also said the finale is 59 minutes long without credits, so it's like the longest episode of the MCU TV series by far, which is good because there's a lot of like bullet points that need to wrap up here in this show. One of the other standout parts of this episode for me is the fight. Essentially, it's the right out of Acme Looney Tunes, an arrow with a little rolled up note in it, which was beautiful. It was hilarious to me. He shut the window, and then the fight with Echo at the car lot, which was she finds out that he is Ronan, but he was given tips to kill her dad, right? Or whatever
from the inside of her own organization.
Yes.
So you can kind of see where they're going because they've already they've officially confirmed an Echo spinoff series.
Yes,
right?
That was on the Disney Plus day. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can kind of see how it's being pivoted, right? She's going to run away from her crime organization because they're all crooked, and she's going to kind of be this shades of gray character out there in the world. I don't know how compelling she's going to be on her own, to be honest, but I feel like that's really just up to the writers and the showrunner, right? You can make anything good, if you come at it from the right angle. But as of right now, I don't think anything is too like crazy interesting there. But it's fun watching her fight Hawkeye.
Do you know why I think they announced her show, and what the key point is? It was the reveal at the end of this episode. Is that her uncle is Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, returning to the MCU.
See, I'm getting really confused with the lineage and parental connections with characters here.
It's not an
because
official
a lot
uncle,
of this,
it's a nickname.
Yeah, because a lot of these things are coming like through text messages, and I have to like rewind and like pause to see. And then that's what. Okay, so we'll talk about the Kingpin reveal, right? So it was Yelena, I guess, felt connected enough to Kate to shoot her a text message, right?
Yeah.
And say like, "Oh, I found out who hired me." It was the king. I don't really know exactly what was going on here.
Her mom hired her, but her mom is colluding with the Kingpin. Like maybe the mom went to the Kingpin and said, "Can you hire me an assassin?" The Kingpin has those connections, I guess. It wasn't super clear exactly what was going on. I think we'll get more of an answer next week.
Well, I guess Elaine from because I was thinking Elaine from Seinfeld hired her, but I guess Elaine from Seinfeld
is her handler.
Is just like the middle person. I really should learn that character's name, so I just don't keep calling her
Contessa.
Elaine.
You can call her Contessa.
Contessa, if you will. But yeah, I'm looking forward to in the finale a moment between Yelena and Clint where they kind of just get to connect over their shared loss, but realize that they're not enemies, that they should be friends. I'm curious where Florence's character goes in the future as well. Like, I could watch her in a Disney Plus series, right? Or is she going to kind of be bolted on to a different character?
I'd put her.
I'm not
in the
100%
movies.
sure.
I hope they.
Yeah.
So that brings. I feel there's going to be a Hawkeye season 2 or a Hawkeye movie after this. I feel this is not going to wrap up Jeremy Renner in one episode.
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of getting the idea that he's quote unquote too old for this shit, right? It seems like he's all of this that he has to do, he gives up, he missed out on critical family moments. So I would not be surprised if this kind of sends Clint off into the sunset.
I think they got his family names. I think there's one more season out of this, like where maybe he's like, we've got to really, really, really get off the radar, kind of thing, like. Because like the MacGuffin of this is a watch, right? They didn't even talk about the watch this episode. Like, there's a lot to tie up next episode.
We still don't know anything about the watch, do we?
No,
we
not
don't
at
know
all.
Who it belongs to?
Yeah,
okay.
We know it belongs to Clint, and it has something to do with his wife. But like, why? Why does it have to do this? We find out, is Tony the sword? Okay, the sword. Is he really evil? Or it now looks like her mom, like I said last week, is setting him up to be the patsy, and she's involved with all the high end crime. What is Kate gonna do after this series? Will we get Hawkeye season 2? But Hawkeye is a Kate season. instead of a
that's
Jeremy Renner.
that's kind of what I'm more expecting is
Yeah.
just everything to shift onto Kate.
Yeah. So, and would it be a Kate and Yelena kind of thing? If they find out Kate's mom's evil, there's a breakdown. She can't rely on her anymore. So she needs money. So she goes into. I don't think she'd kill people as a mercenary, but maybe go down that road of working with Yelena to get money and to stay afloat. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to. This episode didn't give us a lot except some Yelena stuff, but and the obviously the reveal that Vincent D'Onofrio is returning as a Kingpin. So now will we see Kingpin and Daredevil in the Echo show, because Echo is known to be a Daredevil person in the comic books? Is that how we're gonna bring them into these variants into this universe? I've heard that next episode will tell us if the Netflix series is canonical or not. So hopefully we'll find out. Oh yeah, I was there with that big dragon under the city of New York. Don't you remember the big dragons under New York? Which I don't think is going to be canonical, but I've been proven wrong before. I just want. I want this to end. This show's been so good, and I really want it to end well. And I don't want to end on a cliffhanger like Loki, because that was very. It was a good show, but I want more. I want a very close story, and then hey, here's the next story. But I don't want it to end on a cliffhanger. But if we got 59 minutes to watch, man, I'm gonna be blown away. I'm excited about this. What do you think? Anything you want to call out? Any predictions you're feeling here?
Oh man, I would love to be surprised in some way. Right, that's what I'm always looking forward to. Is the Kingpin important to see at the end of the finale? I don't know, right? He hasn't really been involved in any way, but the same way we didn't think Jonathan Majors and Kang may or may not show up at the end of Loki because he wasn't in the whole show or not. So we'll see where that goes. Like you said, some clarification would be great moving forward.
Clint did say that's the guy you don't want involved when he saw him, though. So I think Clint knowing who that is kind of gives me the hint that this is he will have a big role, but I don't think we're gonna fight and take down the Kingpin in this episode. He might just pull some extra strings, being for a couple things. I'm very excited he's back. I mean, honestly, I hate to say that kind of overshadowed the episode, but that was a pretty big reveal. That's a huge thing going on there.
If the Kingpin ends up, I feel like for the sake of just continuity and just my brain trying to keep track of things, I would love if Matt Murdock and the Kingpin were variants, right? Let's just kind of reshape their origin a little bit. We can get a lot of the flack, a lot of the unnecessary stuff from the Defenders, just kind of throw all that away and just start fresh. I think that would be the best for the MCU.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I don't think they want anything to do with the Netflix stuff, either, because then you'd have to go watch Netflix stuff. It's not on Disney Plus. They want it all in one little home.
And there's 13 episodes in those seasons. There's a lot to get through if you want to catch up on Matt Murdock.
And they're not all zingers. They are not all zingers. Some of those are fillers specifically. So, yeah, I agree. I'd rather we know who Daredevil is. We know who Kingpin is. Here they are going forward. And don't worry about the other stuff. This is the Marvel versions, and they've got a history, but you don't need to worry about it, kind of thing. They're big deals. I don't know. I really, like I said, want this to end well, and I don't know how it's going to end. And that's we talked about this earlier. That's a great way to feel. I don't know the answers, and I don't feel like they've given us any answers yet. So I'm gonna brace myself and be surprised on Wednesday when I watch it. Anything else you want to add to this one? We done?
I think that's it from us,
Okay.
and for the year of 2021. This is our last episode of the year, but we will be back at the very beginning of 2022. We're not going to be gone long, so stay tuned, stay subscribed. I'm sure we'll have some initial thoughts of the Matrix movie. Maybe not a real spoiler cast or anything, but stay tuned if you want to hear us talk about that. I'm sure we'll get around to watching The Kingsman at some point in time. We'd love to talk about Ghostbusters too. Yeah. And in the meantime, we'll be talking about tons of news along the way. We got Doctor Strange coming out, Book of Boba Fett's hitting. We got to talk about the finale of Hawkeye in 2 weeks. So stay tuned, stay subscribed. Taking a week off for the holidays, but we're coming back strong in 2022, just like every year.
That's right. We hopefully have a pretty good lineup for next year. We've got review episodes coming up. I think I just had it pulled up. Mike, what's our first movie? I know Batman's in March. Doctor Strange is in May, gonna pull up this upcoming release here. Sorry, folks. Morbius. Oh, how could I forget about Morbius in January?
Get that out of your mouth.
It seems to be not a busy year for movies, but a good year for movies, right? Next year, and go to Uncharted, The Batman, Doctor Strange, DC Super Pets, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Adam, Into the Spider-Verse, or it's Across the Spider-Verse. I need to update that. The Flash, Black Panther, and Aquaman all next year. And I remember when they announced Aquaman 2, I'm like, that's 4 years away. Like, what are they doing? And here we are, a year away from it. So I'm excited to dive into it and hit next year. So everyone have a happy and safe holidays. Please travel safely. I hope you get everything you've ever wanted under the Christmas tree.
Oh wow!
And tell us if you get anything nerd related. We'd love to hear what you got. That's nerdy for Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate. So that's it, Mike. If people know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at, sir?
They can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN, or Instagram, Valdan87. Love to talk to you guys. People know more about the show, where they can subscribe and listen to our Spider-Man review, or even just delete some old episodes and get ready for the new ones next year. Where can they find that at?
Oh, all you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That is our home base. That is our Stark Tower for the podcast. Well, I suppose the unsold Stark Tower. I can't say Avengers Campus because that's been exploded. I need a canonical, still in existence HQ that I can relate our website to. But that's superheroslate.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. Like Chris said, please reach out. Let us know what you're doing out there in the nerd universe. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, it's so easy to do. You just got to share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy. Go out there and make sure you're boosted so you're safe. And we will be here every week, folks. Well, except for next week. But the week after that, in perpetuity.
That doesn't work for next week. But yeah, we will see you guys next year.
Next year. There you go.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.